so baby, I'm trying to get away. Trying to lock in the guap, trying to block with the pain. I'm a blind little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the vibes, and I'm copping the pain. We out for the stars to a tropical place. So, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitches are jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching to ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know what the bros, I got richer than Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti. Yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like the ran do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, now taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in the greatest state.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay, he's Maddie, and we are going to talk some of the wild shit that's going on in the off season already and our little quick recap of what we saw in the Super Bowl.
Do you know what? Like, I have missed that intro song. And I know it wasn't that long ago that we did our most recent show, because obviously it was a preview of the Super Bowl not that long ago. But I feel like the only music I've heard on social media since the Super Bowl is "They're Not Like Us, They're Not Like Us," just over and over again. So it's nice to hear some different music for a change.
It's Lamar, it's Kendrick Lamar's, it's K-Dot's biggest song, but it's not his best. Like we talked about it. I got the songs I wanted that we talked about in the pregame show, so I was happy.
I got a couple in there, but like I thought it was very good. We'll talk more about Kendrick Lamar in a second. But Jay, what we're going to be going through today is we're going to be looking at our Super Bowl reactions, just some reactions to the Super Bowl. We're going to be answering the question, is Patrick Mahomes' GOAT debate over? Is it over just as it was starting to begin? And I'm going to need you to explain Jalen Hurts to me later on, because I just don't understand him as a quarterback. I don't get him whatsoever. And we're also unfortunately going to have the chat of, are we on the verge of a Philadelphia Eagles dynasty? But all of that to come. Super Bowl show talk, Super Bowl halftime show talk as well. But Jay, I thought we could start with just a breakdown of the game. And the main question I kind of wanted to get to here is, watching that game, it made me think, have we moved away from this best quarterback wins the Super Bowl, best quarterback means best team, to best roster wins the Super Bowl? Have we started to move into that world of the NFL?
I think what we saw was the best defensive line kicked the shit out of the best quarterback in the NFL. And there's even theories that Mahomes caught a concussion in the first quarter, and that's why he was off the whole game. I don't know. I don't know if that happened, but I'll tell you this much. That defense was at him. That defense locked it down. And when we get to the offense, they put the fucking foot on their throat. But I think it was just that defensive line killed the offensive line. And everybody was like, hey, the Chiefs revamped. It's moving around. Tooney over here, offensive line is looking great. And the Philadelphia Eagles were like, hold my beer and watch this.
And then we raised a couple of concerns about the Chiefs' offensive line going into
I didn't mean me
going into the playoffs.
Everybody else.
Yeah, like going into the playoffs. But then I think I just kind of forgot about it because they look so good in that game. In that game against the Bills, they looked fantastic. So I just kind of forgot about it. And then the Texans didn't really cause them a lot of troubles on the defensive line, their offensive line either. So I just kind of forgot about it until the Philadelphia Eagles came up. And look, Howie Roseman has created this roster of absolute animals that all came from the same, like most of them come from the same college system. So they have that bond together as well. You can see that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis play really well off each other. Like they know what's going on. You can see that Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship and Kenyon Mitchell, like they all play together and they know this system so well. And look, like Fangio did an amazing job, like of getting that team ready. But I agree with you. I think this was just a question of the best defensive line taking over of a middling offensive line. The Eagles have had a few struggles against teams where there's really good offensive lines and you can run the ball as well. But I think this idea that we've had that the AFC is the strongest conference, and it has been for 4 or 5 years, all based on the fact that if you look at their quarterbacks compared to the NFC quarterbacks, then that's the way it goes. But actually, if you look at it team for team, everybody was like, oh, the Ravens and the Bills, they have the best rosters. The Chiefs have a great roster. Go player for player with the NFC teams. Go player for player. The Eagles have a better roster. The Commanders are starting to put together good rosters. The Lions have a much better roster than anybody in the AFC. And I think we are at this point where it's back to roster building, and you do need a good quarterback to make up for that.
If you're just going rosters up and down, though, you could argue the Vikings, the 49ers, like there's different teams that like are really built in a certain way. But I just think that defense knew how to attack what they were doing. And if you think about it, they barely blitzed that game. And think about that. They barely blitzed. They're getting all that pressure. They're dropping 7 back into coverage. Yeah. Mahomes has no time and nobody's open because 7 dudes are back in coverage. And they were playing an over 3, or when they had to, an over 4, which pretty much makes the 2 end corners playing man. Well, everybody else is playing zone. Good luck. And those interceptions, those were coming off of zone plays. So these guys, Cooper DeJean, and why am I blanking on who picked the other one? But
no, wasn't Kenyon Mitchell? Blankenship, was it?
Whoever, they were playing zone, right? So they're watching Mahomes dropping back, and Mahomes is running for his life, and boom, there they go. They get these interceptions that were huge. I was really impressed with the defense, but I was equally, if not more impressed with the way the offense played, because you could honestly look at what the Chiefs were doing, and they said, Saquon's not going to beat us. We're going to make Jalen Hurts and these receivers beat us, and they did. And the play that for me that stuck out is, I don't remember how much they were up by in the third quarter, but they were up by a lot. And I'm like, oh, they're just going to run the ball, punt it, do this kind of shot to the end zone. Smith, throw it or foot on your throat. Like, they did not fuck around. Like, they just attacked. And that was the best way. You even said it, though, leaving our last podcast. You picked the Chiefs, but you said if it's a blowout, the Eagles win.
Yeah, the Eagles played their ball downhill. Like, in fact, if you look at all the NFC teams, actually, the way that the NFC have decided to build out their rosters is you play downhill. You get your first. It amazes me when any of the NFC teams decide to defer the ball in the second half. Like, I feel like all NFC teams, most of them with the way that they're built.
I hate when we receive. I hate it, but okay, go ahead.
I just feel like the way that they're built, you should receive, aim to get up first, and then just control the game from there. That's the way that they play. And the Eagles are a perfect example of that, where they just get downhill, and then as soon as they're downhill, their pass rush can come after you. They also have big fuckers in the middle to just ever stop you from trying to run the ball to start with. Zach Bourne got the other interception as well. It's Cooper DeJean and Zach Bourne. Zach Bourne, probably most underrated player in the NFL this season.
Shoot messaged me, 21 from Overtime Hustling, messaged me after the game and said Cooper DeJean should retire right now because he can't top what just happened to him. Interception. Was the pick six? Yeah, no.
Pick six, yeah.
Cooper DeJean was the pick six. Interception, pick six. Super Bowl win on his birthday, just retire. That's what he told me. Just retire.
Yeah, with Cooper DeJean, I think he might be the ultimate reason we should give DEI more attention, because everybody's saying as he came into the league, a white guy can't play corner, and then he's killed it since he's come in, and in the past you wouldn't have been able to do that.
We could get to it in a minute, but somebody in one of the sports groups comments said, oh, Kendrick couldn't even have put one white dancer in the halftime show. And I said, we eliminated DEI and all the black dudes were better.
but Cooper DeJean, I said to you multiple times during the Super Bowl, do you know what? Cooper DeJean, Super Bowl MVP. as well. Like I was just watching that game and I was like, Super Bowl MVP. And I understand why Jalen Hurts got it, and we'll get onto that in a second. But I was just watching it. I was just like, yeah, Super Bowl MVP. And that defense is the reason that they won the game. By the time the Chiefs worked them out, the Chiefs did work them out in the second half, I think. And people are calling it stat padding and stuff. I don't think it's stat padding. I think the Chiefs, I don't think the Eagles necessarily went into loads of prevent defense, and it wasn't loads of stat padding. It was just too late by the time they got it going. And the fact that the Eagles were able to keep the defense, their offense ticking over as well was a key part of that. So for me, the key performance of the day, of the Super Bowls was Jalen Carter's amazing play on the defensive line. Zach Bourne and Cooper DeJean as well were absolutely incredible. And obviously Jalen Hurts at quarterback as well. But Jay, just moving on to Mahomes here, and Mahomes' GOAT status. How much has this hurt Mahomes' like legacy this game, his GOAT status debate against Tom Brady?
It's way too early to tell, right? Brady lost 3 Super Bowls. So, I mean, if Patrick can get more than 7, I don't care how many he loses, he will get the status, right? So I think it's more about how many he wins than how many he loses if we're comparing against Brady for legacy. Now, when it comes down to your overall legacy minus are you the greatest, I mean, if you have more losses than wins in the Super Bowl, people are going to hold that against you, which he doesn't right now, but people will hold that against you. I am the firm believer that I don't know how anybody doesn't say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's been to 5 Super Bowls. How are we even arguing this?
Yeah, if he retired today. Yeah. If he retired today, he would be. I think in terms of GOAT status, what hurts him more is the whole media perception change of the Chiefs. I think like I was honestly surprised at the amount of booing the Chiefs got in stadium. And then I remembered that Philly are a big traveling team and a huge fan base. So there's probably more Philly fans in there. But like the amount of hate towards the Chiefs by the end, I thought was crazy.
People hate greatness, though. That's what that is. Like people hate Brady. People hate the Patriots for that reason. People hate the Lakers or the Celtics in basketball because all the success they had. Like people hate greatness. They love to build you up, but they enjoy tearing you down even more.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that's in Patrick Mahomes is the reason that the Chiefs lost. I don't really agree with that at all. Now, I do think where this does hurt his legacy the most in terms of this loss is the style of loss it was. Like they got killed and Mahomes couldn't do anything to stop it. But in that first half where he has no time to throw anything, everybody's dropping back in coverage. Xavier Worthy drops a pass that was catchable. Travis Kelce drops 2 passes that were catchable. Like obviously one that was like they're not the easiest catches, but it's the Super Bowl and Mahomes is running for his life and everybody's dropped back in coverage. He's still trying to fit it into tight spaces and you're not catching the ball. As when the defensive line is playing like that, the longer you can stay on the field, the easier it gets because they begin to tire out. The players that tire out first on an NFL field are the defensive linemen. So like if they make that first down, it's then 3 more plays of having a pass rush. Can they make another first down if they get another one of those catches? So he's not being helped by his receivers. And the offensive line may as well have not been there for like lots of the game. Like that offensive line performance was akin to how bad it was when they played the Bucs and Tom Brady beat him in the Super Bowl, right? Like the 2 times that Patrick Mahomes has lost in the Super Bowl, his offensive line has been basically non-existent. And I heard someone trying to say, oh, is it about Patrick Mahomes holding on to the ball too long? Is it about this? Like he looks nervous in the pocket. He can't get his throw. He's not making his read. And it's like, no. If you can't stop 4 people rushing, the quarterback can't do anything. Like there's nothing that can be done at that point. So I'm happy to defend Patrick Mahomes on that one in terms of this loss. And I thought it was good of him to take the blame, but obviously there's some blame, but not a majority of it, I wouldn't say.
I don't believe that sometimes you can argue this, but people are going to go, did the Chiefs lose the game or did the Eagles win it? The Eagles absolutely won this fucking game. Like they just came out, They were the better team by far that day. I don't know what the record is if they play 10 times, but the Eagles ain't winning all 10, right? So, like, the Eagles on that day were the superior team, and they had a great game plan, and they fucking executed. Jalen Hurts was a fucking machine. And Jalen Hurts put all that pressure he was carrying, and after that game, just got to throw it on the ground and give a big fuck you to everybody out there, you know?
Yeah, I was surprised at how ready the Eagles were to play compared to the Chiefs. Like, I felt like the Chiefs didn't look ready to play. And I was like, you've been in this situation before. Like, most of the people in that locker room have been in this situation before. And to me, there was just elements of them not looking ready to play. Like, they weren't at it, where the Eagles were at it from the jump. And having a coach like, this is going to surprise you, Jay, but having a coach like Nick Sirianni, who gets you to play at such a high emotional level, if you can control it throughout the whole of the game, which Dan Campbell doesn't do, right? But Nick Sirianni in that Super Bowl got them to control that all the way through the game from start to finish, and they were ready to go. So full shout out to Nick Sirianni.
Just a perfect example of that. So when A.J. Brown comes off the field pissed off after that one series, he doesn't want to talk to nobody, right? And I don't think people are like, he was mad at Hurts. I don't think that's what he was mad at. I think he was just mad at the way the series went, right?
Yeah.
He's pissed off. If you look, Sirianni's literally over there, his arm around him, and he's talking to him. And then A.J. Brown comes out the next series and goes off. Like, that's the kind of shit that I don't think Sirianni gets the credit for. And I know we've made fun of him, and he sounds like a big dumb dipshit sometimes. He really does. But, like, it's time to put some respect on his name. And any Philly fan that don't like him, good luck. That motherfucker about to get re-upped for big money.
Yeah. We'll talk more about Sirianni in this section of the potential Eagles dynasty, Jay. But what I do want to come to is a more kind of in-depth chat now on Jalen Hurts, because I don't understand Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. Like, I don't get him. It's just a person who I don't get. Sometimes when I watch him, I'm like, you're just not very good. Like, you're a bottom 20 quarterback in this league. Like, and I watch him and I'm like, yeah, you're accurate, and you're athletic. And I can see that, but sometimes the way you read zones is wrong. The way you read zones is wrong. You don't get the ball out of your hands fast enough. You don't throw it down the field to your elite wide receivers, even when they're open. And then there's these games that come around, like these big games where he just goes off. This is 2 Super Bowls in a row now where he was the best quarterback on the field. And I don't understand that. I don't get Jalen Hurts. And it is infuriating because we have fucking Philadelphia Eagles fans in the group chats that we're in, Jay, telling me that he's the best top 10 quarterback, better than Dak Prescott. And throughout the season, the guy isn't until he has to be. And then he is. And all of a sudden, we're talking as if he's a top 5 quarterback in the league again. And I don't understand him. So, Jay, please break down Jalen Hurts for me.
Jalen Hurts is the best type of teammate you could have because he's willing to do whatever it takes to win that game. He doesn't care if he throws the ball 7 times. He doesn't care if he throws it 37 times. He doesn't care if he runs 12 times. He doesn't care if he runs 1 time. Whatever it takes to win the game. And what makes Jalen Hurts so impressive, in the biggest moments, he steps up and plays big. And I don't think there's any argument. You can't argue, is he better than Dak Prescott at this point because he put a ring on it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course he is. No, of course he is. Like, he definitely is. It's, throughout the course of the season, they didn't win a game where he had to throw for more than 150 yards until the Super Bowl, where he
that says more about the team, right? The team wasn't supporting what needed to be done because they were based off of running the ball, playing defense, and in those games where he had to throw more, the defense was giving up points. They weren't getting the run game going. But in the Super Bowl, he didn't even need the run game. He was like, take the night off, Saquon, I got this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's in the position where, look, I think over the course of the season, can Jalen Hurts give you that amount of production without the run game? I don't think so. But he's got the tangible ability to go into an atmosphere like that and it not phase him. And if you look at his college career where he gets where he gets dropped. Is it by Alabama? He gets dropped by Alabama and transfers to Oklahoma and plays really well in Oklahoma. Faces that adversity, still only comes out as a second round pick in that draft as well. When probably a lot of the stuff that suggested he should have been a first round pick also comes out as a second round pick to an organization that have a guy who was almost MVP quality the season before when they won the Super Bowl, and Carson Wentz. Like, that's adversity, but he is so professional, has the tangibles in there. And look, he clearly has the talent as well. Also, the tush push doesn't work without him either. So he has those abilities there too.
2 years ago when they made the Super Bowl, he was the running game.
Yeah, exactly. Like he gives that running game element, and I think the reason his running game doesn't go under the radar, because everybody talks about it all the time, right? But the reason it doesn't get as much credit as Lamar Jackson's running game is it's not the same as Lamar Jackson's running game. Like, it's a completely, like, Jalen Hurts is a power running back playing, like,
he's a power running back with speed.
Yeah, he's a power running back who, if he gets into open space, you're going to struggle to catch him as well. Like, he's a power running back, a quarterback, which is not traditionally what you want your quarterback to do.
Jalen Hurts is a better Kareem Hunt at running back.
Yeah, a Kareem Hunt that can throw. Yeah. Like a Kareem, he's a faster Kareem Hunt who can throw and is very accurate as well. Like, is very accurate and has amazing tangibles and wouldn't get into the problems that Kareem Hunt has done. So all of that together, Jay, where does Jalen Hurts rank in quarterbacks in the NFL? Because I've heard a lot of top 5 and I'm still not having that. Like, when you take out the top 5,
I say he's definitely top 10. I don't know if he's top 5, but Howie Roseman's done a great job of putting talent around him too to help him succeed, right? You got Dallas Goedert, you got fucking AJ Brown, Smith, Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley, most importantly.
Yeah, but I'm saying they have all the talent. They did a great job of building around him. I still got Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen,
Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Joe Burrow. I'm quickly trying to go through the quarterbacks in the NFL, but maybe he is
Jaden Daniels. But Jaden Daniels, he's not even the best quarterback in his division.
He's probably 6, 7, or 8, right? Like 6, 7, or 8, somewhere right there.
Yeah. He definitely sits in the top 10. But I think there was points in the season where it would be difficult to argue for him to be in the top 10 on his production. And I think the problem for most people, including myself, with Jalen Hurts is he gets the same thing as like Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, like that level of quarterback where they're an elite quarterback if they have a good O-line, if they have excellent wide receivers, if they have a good running back. And do you know what? In the Super Bowl, he was just a good quarterback. He was just a great quarterback. He didn't need to be a great quarterback if the run game wasn't there for him. AJ Brown was,
but that was Tom Brady his first 8 years, 7 years. I don't know, maybe 7 years. Like, Tom Brady was great and then Tom Brady became great no matter what, right? So I think there's something about winning a Super Bowl that gives you this confidence that takes your game to the next level. I think we might see Jalen Hurts up his level next year too.
Yeah, that Jalen Hurts. Just a final point on this. Jalen Hurts has been in the league like what, 5 years now? 5 years? 4, 5?
So they won the Super Bowl in what, 17?
Yep. And then he got drafted 18.
18. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 6 years, 7 years?
6 years. Yeah, 6 years. Out of those 6 years, he's probably had 2 good years. But those 2 good years have ended in being the best player in the Super Bowl in one and winning a Super Bowl in the other. That's where Jalen Hurts is for me. And it's crazy that you can go kind of up and down like that. And he hasn't had any terrible where he's been absolutely awful. I mean, his first year was weird.
Yeah, they shit the
His
bed
first year
last
didn't
year
play.
at the end, but they still
Yeah.
went to the playoffs, and
Yes. That's what I mean though. But he's like he wasn't
But that's
amazing in that year.
okay.
Though,
But my
was he?
point is, a bad year for him is getting knocked out early in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they missed his first season they didn't play, and then his second season they go to the playoffs. He has missed the playoffs on a couple of occasions as well. But yes, exactly.
I mean, this is what we're judging at this point, though. Like
exactly
in the last few years, it's been playoff, right? So like, I mean, if that's a bad year, your owner loves you.
Yeah, he's just a mad quarterback, and I don't see top 5. But
Jeffrey Lurie loves him probably like Jerry loves Romo.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen is making he is making 50 million a year as well. But
you keep as an owner, you go to the Super Bowl, you go to the playoffs, you win one. That makes you so much money. So much money in apparel,
exactly.
Like everything. Yeah, Jeffrey Lurie loves that dude.
There's so much money, and then there's the owner gets is the person who's awarded with the Super Bowl trophy as well. Which,
let's be real, is a dick wagging contest for these billionaires, right? So
NFL ownership is about bragging rights more than anything else. Like there are only a couple of organizations, and look, Philly might be one of them, where you're making genuine money compared to the money that you're having to spend in the NFL. So where have we gone? Okay. Jay, moving on to the most depressing segment of this, are we on the edge now of an Eagles dynasty? They went to the Super Bowl and lost 1 year. Then they got, as you say, got to the playoffs, got knocked out. The wheels just fell off in that one. Then they've won the Super Bowl here. And Jay, with that roster, with that organization and ownership, are we on the eve of an Eagles dynasty? How close are they to becoming the most dominant team of this era now?
There's definitely a chance, right? Because not only did they get great free agents, they draft well, and that's important.
Yeah.
So they mix, and the NFL just found out they're getting another $22-ish million on the salary cap for Howie to play with. Now, I know I joke. I really don't think that Myles Garrett goes there because I don't think they'd give up the draft capital it would take to get Myles Garrett. But they're going to add more monsters to that team in the offseason. They are definitely going to add more. And are they a dynasty? We don't know yet. Do they have the ability to be one? Yes. But other teams aren't standing still either. You know what I mean? So you got to, I think to be a dynasty, don't you have to have at least 2 to 3? You have to have at least 2 rings and 3 appearances, right? In the Super Bowl almost.
Yeah, it's over like a 5. For me, a dynasty is over a 5 or 6 year span. You've got maybe 2 to 3 rings with NFC championship appearances basically every year from that point. As well. And I mean, the Eagles could say, look, we won a ring in 2017. We've been to the playoffs nearly every year, apart from Jalen Hurts' the year immediately after the Super Bowl.
No, now that you brought up the 17, they are a dynasty.
Ring in 17, Super Bowl appearance in 23, ring in 25. It's close. I mean, the 17 and the 25 may be a bit too far apart because there was.
I don't know though.
After their Super Bowl ring, there was a couple of lean years in there as well.
The playoffs 1 or 2 more years. I mean, Brady's want to break. If you break Brady's career into 2 separate dynasties, right? They're 10 years each.
Yeah, they were 10 years. They were also weirdly 10 years apart. Like those 2 dynasties.
Well, in the middle, there's that middle. But if you cut them, but the last 10 years, you can't argue that whole last 10 years was a dynasty because they were going to the Super Bowl, they were going to AFC Championship games. I guess they're a mini dynasty on their way to being a real dynasty if they keep it going, right?
Yeah, definitely. And look, what gives you the ability to have a dynasty, and it's getting that Super Bowl when your star players in their rookie contracts is the key, I think, to kind of setting up a dynasty. And the Eagles, although really good offensively, and they have most of their money on the offensive side of the ball, their defense is what won them this game and what will continue to win them games. Well, they have Jalen Carter on a rookie deal, Jordan Davis on a rookie deal, DeJean was in his rookie year, Kenyon Mitchell in his rookie year, Nayland Smith is on a rookie deal, and Nakobe Dean is on a rookie deal, and that's just picking out a few. But that's 6 of their defensive players all on their rookie deals, with also Cam Jurgens on a rookie deal in the center, and there's someone else. There's someone else on a rookie deal as well on the offensive side of the ball who's a starter as well. And so, look, they have all of these players available for a rookie deal. What I've been saying for the past, I feel like since we started this podcast, is when are the Eagles going to get into cap trouble? And it's not until 2028. They currently have 0 cap room in 2028, which, I mean, we don't know how much these teams are going to be making by 2028, because as you say, we already have a huge expansion. There's possibly another game by the time we get to 2028. So they don't have cap trouble until 2028, 3 years time. They have 19 million this year. They have 27 million next year. And then they have a 97 million in there, which is when a lot of these rookies need to be re-upped and paid. But yeah,
but they'll be also, they're going to replace AJ Brown within the next 3 years. And you know what I mean? Before his contract's up. I don't see him getting another big contract from them.
Realistically, Saquon as well. Like, realistically, they'll probably replace Saquon by 2028.
Yeah, and then you're going to replace Smith right around that time too. So 3 of your big paid players are probably going to be with guys on rookie deals by that point. And then you'll have to pay the defense. But then, so goes, I think Howie can drag this thing out for 7-8 years before they have a fucking problem.
Yeah, I think the next problem area for them will eventually be the O-line.
But they're smart enough. But they're smart enough to pay these guys early too. Like,
yes,
the exact opposite of what Jerry Jones does. And I don't mean to beat up on you, but like, no, they pay them early. They get them a tiny bit cheap. Like, they pay them a lot early, but it's less than you're going to pay them 2 years from now. So in the long run, those contracts look better at the end.
Yeah, so I was surprised that they'd already paid Landon Dickerson. I feel like Dickerson was just drafted. I feel like he was just drafted, but they've already paid him. Cam Jurgens has had to go in for a back operation at the end of his rookie year, so we'll see kind of how that pans out. Lane Johnson can't carry on for another 2 years. Surely he's got to retire soon.
Okay, but here's the kicker. Free agency and the draft is full of guys that can play offensive line.
Yeah, the tackle position in this draft is ridiculously deep, more importantly. Like, again, no blue chip, like very, very few blue chip players in this draft. Very few. So it's the depth. And if you can get a guy at offensive tackle at the end of the first round, so you have the 5-year option with them as well, you take whatever offensive tackle is left there at pick 32, and they sit behind Lane Johnson for a year, 2 years, probably getting a bit of game time as well, because then you can say, okay, against the weaker pass rushes, Johnson, you sit out and we'll save you the legs because we need to see this guy play. That's what they did with Kelsey and Dickerson. They gave Kelsey breaks to give Dickerson game time at center as well, and they just have got this perfectly. And I feel like when I watch the Eagles, they're one of the only teams that I feel like regularly focus on development rather than the right now. My big problem with the NFL is a lot of the time you come in on your rookie deal, you come in your rookie year, and if you don't hit the ground running, you're out of the league in 3 years' time. Like, there's not a lot of space for development, but I feel like the Eagles give players that room for development. They put them in game situations when maybe they shouldn't be there. They're not the best player for that situation, but they give them the ability to grow into that situation.
Yeah, I would say there's 6 or 7 teams who do that in the NFL, right? And
yeah,
you got the Niners have proven they develop people over the years, but I can go homer with this and say that I think the Vikings are developing guys, but
the Rams, do a lot of development as well.
The Packers draft and develop. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And so, to give the Packers some, I literally pointed at towards Lambeau Field when I said that too. I'm like the Packers because that's the way. So, but with the draft coming up, quick tidbit: if you are coming to the Green Bay area, starting March 10th, they are blocking off roads because they are building shit for the. So the whole area don't come by Lambeau from March 10th till 2 weeks after the draft because they have to take it down.
If you are going to the draft in Green Bay, do feel free to give us a message, and I'm sure Jay will be happy to tell you all the best spots in Green Bay.
Shit, we'll meet up and we'll meet up in the tailgate area and have a fucking beer together too. Let me know.
Do a little interview. Take a mic with you, Jay, and just get a few people.
You know we're gonna be down there filming shit. I'm gonna be talking to people, random people. I'm gonna be
see if you can find anyone good. I want like Field Yates. I would like him.
If I bump into somebody like that, I'll definitely try to get those too. But I'm catching fans. I want fans. I want to find a Lions fan, and I'm not going to be a dick. I want to be like, tell me the feeling of what you went through last season.
Yeah. I want to hear your actual opinions on Dan Campbell. That's what I want to hear. And don't argue too much with them about Dan Campbell. But
I'm not even going to bring up my opinion. This is about the draft is the greatest event in the NFL because every team is excited still.
Yeah. So look out for that content when it comes up, guys. We'll hopefully have something up about then. But yeah, I think the Eagles do have this ability to build, and I do think they're going to be. I do think they have the full potential to be a dynasty. I think that there are a couple of things that are missing. I think that stop them from potentially moving forward to be a dynasty. Jalen Hurts over the course of a season, how great can he be? But does he need to be great over the course of a season with the way that they've built the roster? And he wins the important games every time, like we've seen him do it. Or he plays well in the important games every time. Can Nick Sirianni keep this team together? Like, is it him who causes the drama, or is it him who fixes the drama? What is that? Can he keep the team together? Because
I don't think
a lot of noise comes out of Philly for a dynasty.
I don't think he creates the drama, but I don't think he shies away from it either. Mm-hmm. But I think that's good for that locker room. And the drama you hear is never anything that serious. They're like, oh, Jalen and AJ Brown aren't as close as they were 2 years ago. And they're like, we still hang out together. We still do things. So, like, if they're still friends, are we now debating on how close of friends they are, right? I have my best friend travels the country to work, so I don't see him as much as I used to 2 years ago. Does that mean me and him aren't as close? No,
Yeah, and I do think I do think having listened to a lot more of Harry Roseman over the past week or so, I've listened to a few past interviews with Harry Roseman, and total genius, but the kind of guy that gets eaten up in a football locker room, right? The kind of guy who gets so I was listening to his story about when he was in kind of Miami and he had to deal with a Terrell Owens situation, and Terrell, he was on a private jet with Terrell Owens. For some reason, they were beefing, and I can't remember what it was for. And Terrell just they weren't meant to be on the same plane. They just happened to be going to Miami at the same time, and they were in the same first class section. And Owens just flung his chair right back, right into Howie's lap, and just Howie obviously just didn't do anything about it because he's not that kind of guy. So I wonder if Nick Sirianni was there, he wouldn't let Terrell Owens do that to Harry Roseman. I wonder if Nick Sirianni is the enforcer to Harry Roseman. So I wonder if that's the ability there.
So Harry Roseman is the mob boss.
Yeah.
Sirianni is the underboss who handles everything, and Big Dom is the muscle. Big Dom's the
perfect name. Sirianni's got the perfect name for that situation. That's why I went there.
He wears the eagle hat with the little Italian flag on the side, Big Dom. But that's why I went there. But Big Dom's the enforcer. Sirianni's the underboss who like handles everything for Howie.
Yeah, and I like. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's in the same way that Dan Campbell does it for Ben Johnson in Detroit, I think, as well. Like those kind of big name guys. Brian Flores does it for KOC. Like maybe it's that kind of thing. It's just normally we see it with coordinators, not the GM. But you do feel that Howie has more control over stuff than other GMs do. Maybe like Howie Roseman. I wouldn't be surprised if Howie Roseman has an effect on who's getting picked in games, like what's happening in game as well.
I guarantee you that Laurie, the owner, is hands off, and that's why they're so great. He got a great GM, and I'm not saying he doesn't have a say. I'm just saying he's not in there meddling, right? And and they just let Howie run the show like Howie's the president of the organization.
Yeah, definitely. Howie runs that as a CEO, and I do think Sirianni's the enforcer. Now, I don't think that Sirianni necessarily works in a lot of places as a head coach, but he does work there. So I don't think they're missing Sirianni as a problem. The other big part of being a great dynasty seems to be as well having a weak division, like being able to play those games in weak division. The Eagles don't have that. The NFC East isn't that division. The Commanders have the best. The Commanders have the best quarterback in the division. The Commanders have seemingly a really good coaching team and a really good GM situation right now, and the ability to build on that as well. And the Cowboys, are always recently at thereabouts. Obviously, we'll see how things go with them.
You guys have all the potential.
Change.
You just got to prove it now. You got
exactly.
A lot of people outside of me, which is really weird, is really upset about this Schottenheimer hire.
It feels just more of the same to me. I'm not like overly annoyed. It's just more of the same, which you may as well have just kept Mike McCarthy.
What people don't realize is this guy was Ben Johnson at one point, passed up getting a head coaching job. His team took a shit the next year and never got a shot again, right? I'm not saying he'll be great. But I'm saying once Jerry fucked around and missed out on all of the big names and didn't keep Mike McCarthy, I don't think it's the worst hire. Like
it is pretty crazy.
Jerry's paying him I bet you Jerry's paying him like $2 or $3 million a year.
Oh, he's getting peanuts compared to the other guys that are in the league as well.
Like Kevin O'Connell just re-upped for $13 million a year.
Yeah. Bargain though for Kevin O'Connell. But so with that you have the Commanders and the Cowboys, and look, those rivalries are not like the Patriots and the Dolphins don't like each other, but it's not Cowboys Eagles
It's
Commanders.
only a rivalry
it's not that.
If both teams are good or both teams are bad.
Yeah, exactly. And Eagles Cowboys will always be a rivalry for a long time. Eagles Commanders will be a rival. Cowboys, basically everybody hates the Cowboys anyway, and everybody hates the Eagles anyway. So you're taking probably two of the most hated teams in the NFL, putting them in the same division and playing them against each other 2 times a year. Like the Eagles don't get easy games in their division, apart from the 2 against the Giants, and the Giants might sort themselves out, but they have been a good team before. So there are some of the key things that are missing to a dynasty, but everything else I think they have ready to kind of go. And I think if they don't win another Super Bowl in the next 3 years, they can see that as a failure with the position that they've got themselves in now. I feel like something has to have gone wrong for them to not win another Super Bowl, or at least be in another Super Bowl in the next couple of years. Jay, I thought we could kind of end the football talk and move on to kind of the halftime show. This was the most watched halftime show of all time, surpassing Michael Jackson. It's obviously in a big political time in the US, like where there's big upheaval and big change in the US, and you have Kendrick Lamar, who's people expect him to have a voice on politics. I personally don't think he has much of a voice on politics, because lots of people, he's not that guy in my opinion. Like he doesn't really want that a lot of the time. However, he did go with the Uncle Sam thing, which is obviously inherently political and did seem to like go into it a little bit. So, Jay, what did you make of this halftime show? Is this the best halftime show of all time? I've seen a lot of people ranking it insanely highly on halftime show.
Okay. No, it's not the greatest halftime show of all time, but it was fucking amazing. I don't know if people caught all the messaging of like the colors separating from the red, white, and blue flag. That was a message. Samuel L. Jackson saying you're too ghetto. That like Samuel L. Jackson and himself playing Uncle Sam because of the role Samuel played in another movie that everybody's talking about. Like there's these things that Kendrick did. Kendrick got to do the greatest mic drop in the world on Drake by looking straight at him at the Super Bowl into the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about him. I thought it was great. I thought it, I was really entertained, but I said this before. There's a lot of people who hated this fucking and want to bitch, but that's every year. But this year seems a little louder. And I really believe there's two reasons why people did not enjoy this halftime show. One, if you do not know Kendrick's music, I get it's not fun for you. I get that, like, if you don't know the music, it's not going to be enjoyable for you. And two, there's a lot of people who hated the message. And that probably is a bigger problem, that you hated the message that was being, like, when the truth gets told to you and it makes you upset, that's time to internalize some shit. But I will say, I called it, if you remember, he was going to say certified lover boy, certified, and then let the crowd go. And then I say A minor, and the whole crowd went nuts. When he was like, you struck a chord, and it's probably A minor, the whole place just went nuts. I was like, that was so great. And okay, I always say this on the playlist, so if anybody watches, Drake is super talented. I don't like Drake's music, so to any time that somebody can drop a fucking diss on Drake, I'm all for. And 100 and some thousand people did it to you in a fucking stadium.
Yeah, what interests me about the halftime show, Jay, and the people not liking it, and I liked it. I thought it was brilliant. When I think Super Bowl halftime show, I don't think that kind of performance, like, that felt understated for a Super Bowl halftime show. But it was like, if you actually look at the production value of it and the actual staging and everything, it was super clever and really great. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. It's the people who said, look how this show was terrible, the worst show ever. Look how bored people were in the stadium. One, show isn't for the people in the stadium anymore. That's not what the Super Bowl halftime show is for. It's for the millions watching outside of the stadium.
The 1.3 or the 133.5 million that watched.
Yeah. If the Super Bowl was for people in the stadium, if American football in general was for people in the stadium, they would completely change how a lot of the sport runs currently. Like that's not who it's for. If you think American football is for the in-stadium viewer, it's not. And I'm sure it's amazing to go watch American football in stadium. Honestly, when I went and watched it in London, I prefer watching it on the TV because it's a TV product.
I get offered free tickets every year, and I say no, thank you, because I get a better view from my living room. So
yeah, it's for the in-person. And also, if you can afford a ticket to the Super Bowl, chances are you're not going to like Kendrick's music. Like, there's, like, just saying.
Were they bored in the stadium? No, because 100,000 people yelled A minor.
A lot of people. Yes, they did that, but then for the rest of it, a lot of people on their phones just sitting, and a lot of people standing up saying, like, this sucks. But obviously, they were the same. A lot of those people were the same people that cheered Trump. And I'm just going to say, I don't think that Lamar Jackson's message was overly critical of Trump or anything. I think it was more general commentary on the states and separation and those kind of things. And I think it was more general. I think it was more general overview of the attitude towards black people. This show was staged and done way before Trump was president. Just like, it's more of the states is against black people rather than, from what I was reading into it.
Okay, yes. And you're talking about a league that's 70 to 80% African American, right? Like, so
yeah,
it should be for the black community. And as much as Trump got cheered, once he got booed, he decided to leave. So that in itself.
Oh yeah, he all of a sudden had some important business to take care of.
But Taylor Swift got booed and just laughed it off. And I am really.
She just shook it off, man. She just shook it off.
Yeah, she did. I got to take a second. I am not a Taylor Swift fan. I don't listen to her music. The fact that she redid Cruel Summer by Bananarama pisses me off because it's a classic and she shouldn't have touched it. But can people stop with this is a stunt. This is an NFL stunt. Like, her and Kelsey are really together. They have been together for years, a couple years. It seems like they really, truly get along with each other, and people just fucking stop. People did not attack. Now, they brought it up and they showed her, but when Tony Romo was dating Jessica Simpson, it wasn't a problem. Like, what the fuck why are the people so mad that Taylor Swift?
The people who are mad at Taylor Swift are the same people that don't like seeing women being successful. Like that. Okay, that's the reason. If you can't handle a woman being successful, chances are you don't like Taylor Swift. Like,
she is so good for the NFL. She brought so many fans that never used to be fans, and the women are having Taylor Swift Super Bowl parties. I think this is great for the NFL. You're bringing in more fans.
Yeah, this is a man's game. This is a man's game. This is a man's only game. The Premier League and football, the best pundits in the Premier League now, all of the best pundits that commentate on the Premier League are all women. Like, because you just get rid of all you do is you get rid of those old players who just say, well, it was harder in my day, like trying to all outmatch each other, because there's no need for it. So all they do is just actual analysis of what goes on. So the more women you bring into the game. American football is one of these weird sports as well, where the best coaches in NFL history, a lot of them didn't really play the game at any particularly high level. Like, I think you can bring a lot of women into that side of the game to break down plays and stuff. Like, I think the lack of women in the NFL, because it's not a sport that girls play at school, because it's fucking it's a rough sport, and in the same way that rugby isn't a huge game for women at school, although it is becoming more of a game for girls at school now. I think you cut yourself off to the brains of 50% of the population. So if you have people like Taylor Swift coming in, then it's just better for the NFL, right?
And I think you're going to see more and more women doing things with the NFL because women's flag football is becoming so popular in the U.S. that I think it's a good stepping stone, right? And it's different, but I really believe that the people who play flag football, most of them are probably football fans, right? So you'll see them. And you're seeing more and more teams where they do have assistant female coaches and different things like that. But I just think anything that brings more eyes and fans to the game helps. And I bitch about the international games only when the Vikings are involved, right? I don't have a problem with international games. I just hate that the Vikings seem to every year have to give up a home game. If it was an away game, it would bother me less. It wouldn't even bother me. I'm just a home game. But
the ones in Australia sound pretty tough on the team. I do feel sorry for the Australia game ones.
I just don't understand why, and this is me talking about the NFL expanding fans, why we don't give better games to these countries. That's one I don't understand. Why do they get the worst
especially
games?
London. All the other ones have decent games. Germany have started to get a couple of shit ones now, but London just gets routinely awful games because you've got to watch the Jags twice a year. And we got 4 games and 2 of them involve the Jags.
I think they think you guys are going to show up anyway.
Oh, yeah, we'll be there anyway. It's when you watch a London game, all the teams' jerseys are represented when they're there. Because you just go because you love the NFL and that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, I agree. I'm surprised you don't get better games. What was your favorite moment of the Super Bowl halftime show, though, Jay? Was it the A minor part?
No, it was him. Well, I got 2. When they first showed Samuel L. Jackson say he was his Uncle Sam, I was like, oh, fuck, right? I was excited. Who doesn't love Samuel L. Jackson to begin with, right? So some of the most iconic roles and just his voice and aggression in acting. But I like when he looked straight at Kendrick. I mean, when Kendrick looked straight at the camera and talked to Drake. That, for me, was the mic drop of all mic drops. Like I was like, damn, you got like
Yeah.
put on blast in front of 133 million or 133 million people.
My favorite bits were the little bits like in between, like with him and the four women, whereas
Well,
like
when he's like,
they
they
like
want to
to
hear my
sue.
song. I don't know if I should play it.
Yeah,
And then
he's sure you want to hear the song, and then he baits you, and then he does
Yeah.
a different one, and then he comes
Yeah.
back. I really like that. I really like that element. It made the whole thing not feel like a sequence of songs. It felt like it drew everything all together, and I really enjoyed it. But the best moment and the bit where I went, "What the is that?" Serena Williams crip walking.
Oh,
On
okay.
That was the best bit of the Super Bowl halftime show, and the best thing about that is it's because of Serena Williams crip walking in Wimbledon during the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because in 2012, because Wimbledon is like the prim and proper. Like when you play at Wimbledon, you have to wear all white. It's like that kind of shit. And at the Olympics, there was the huge debate on like, do we let them wear their country colors? Do we have to move it to Queen's Club, which is another tennis club in London, because Wimbledon won't let them play in all white, and they only let people play in like not all white in their country colors, like about a month before the Olympics. And then Serena Williams on center court starts crip walking, and there's loads of talks like Finer and Banner from Wimbledon and all of that kind of stuff. But the best part of that is obviously there's rumors about him being Drake's ex and her being Drake's ex and all of that kind of stuff as well. So I thought that was excellent. And I just remember seeing it and being like,
and the choreography was great. I thought like the movement and the dancing.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Do I think it was the best ever? No, but to me, the best ever will always either be Chili Peppers or Bruno Mars. Like there was something about those two. But I mean, my favorite group is the Red Hot Chili Peppers, so I'm biased, right? Like Prince was amazing. We can go back through. There were so many amazing. So I don't even want to rank them, right? It's like ranking quarterbacks through the history of the NFL. You don't want to do that, you know. I just want
to take it.
It was enjoyable.
Got to take it in the context of the time. I remember thinking that the Weekends was like absolutely unreal, and now I've watched.
Didn't even know who he was. Remember, I asked you who the fuck he was.
Yeah,
You're right. I did know a few of his songs from the radio. Also, if we're going to go most iconic, it would have to be Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent. Eminem,
that was ridiculous.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Obviously,
is Kendrick the first person to play the Super Bowl twice? Is what I want to know.
No, because Bruno Mars came back on when Beyonce was doing it, or Coldplay when Coldplay were doing it, and Coldplay brought out Beyonce and Bruno Mars.
That was a pretty good
Beyonce's done it
twice.
Too. That was I really enjoyed that one, and obviously Coldplay are British, so
I'm not a U2 fan, but if they want to put U2 on there, I'll enjoy that too. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand the hate for the halftime. And if you didn't like Kendrick, go take a piss.
Yeah, just do what you normally do in halftime. Just take 10 minutes longer when you do it, because nobody listens to those halftime analysis shows. It's just extra time for ads, isn't it? Like,
and then the thing is I'm offended and irritated all the time, and I just shut up and move on with my day. Like so. Yeah.
I was offended and irritated by the fact that the Eagles were winning the Super Bowl, so I went to bed at around the third quarter.
And you ghosted our group chat for like a week, bro. You ghosted the group chat for like 4 or 5 days.
I did. That was I did think I would receive more abuse for ghosting the group chat, if I'm being perfectly honest. I was surprised I wasn't receiving messages like daily for just
No, we got it. We understood.
I was upset, man. Like I was upset. I was struggling, but now I can say that the Eagles were brilliant. They deserve to win this season. The fact that I didn't even have them in my top 10 teams at the start of the NFL season was foolish and biased on my part. Poor behavior.
Hitman gave you some shit, but I thought he was gonna pile on, and he didn't. So
I thought he was all right. Yeah. Fair enough, Hitman. You know, sometimes when you just focus on your own glory, that's quite nice.
I think that's what he's doing too. He's just enjoying being the Eagles are champs.
Yeah, and the best thing about the NFL is, Jay, everybody has the shortest memories ever in the NFL. So by the time we roll round to the start of next season, it'll basically be forgotten after about 3 weeks of who won the Super Bowl this year. So that's where I'm kind of.
Don't worry, every Eagle fan will remind you every time you say something. You know how many times in our chat during the year somebody's gonna say some shit to Hitman about a game or a fantasy game, and he's gonna be like, "Who won the Super Bowl?"
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's just gonna be like his fantasy name needs to change to something like Super Bowl champs or like something like that with just an eagle on it.
Did you see his name in our group chat?
No,
it's
he's changed. Oh, it's Jason Snappy. Yeah, I do know that one. Yeah. Because you're can't you? What's mine? He changes his mind all the time. That I have no idea what mine is.
It's been a while and it's still the same. That it's Lennox Lewis would use PEDs.
Oh right, okay, yes, because he's an excellent British boxer. Got you. Yeah.
I don't think he really used PED, guys. It was just that Maddie gets really fucked up names.
If you guys want, basically anything to do with the Brits, just
or Cowboys.
Whatever they decide to do, I just get Brits or Cowboys. Just my name gets changed to that immediately. If anybody wants to become part of our fantasy football league the next year, which gets you into our group chat where we talk about the kind of stuff that we talk about on the show. It's where we kind of form some of our ideas, not a lot because it's not the most productive when we do try and talk about serious football stuff, but sometimes it's good. But it's where we do form a lot of our ideas. So if you want to join in on that, then please do put a comment in the chat or DM us on Instagram. Jay, probably the best place to DM.
No, I check Facebook more, but I will put up posts on both when we get closer to the season. And if we get enough people, we can easily start a second league.
Yeah, exactly. And then I can be champ of 2 leagues at the same time. And then that would feel great.
And that's what Eagle fans are going to do all season.
Yeah, at least I have that. Jay, as we're on our way out.
Here, since I'm not sending it to you, we'll present it in fashion. This is Maddie's, but I am not paying the overseas shipping. So this is going to be somebody else's next year, unless you win it again.
Or Duffy. If Duffy wins it again, I feel like we could say to Duffy, like, you already got one. How about we just...
No, I'll still send it to him because he's not part of the channel.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. Jay, I'm going to say this is our last show of this season, because from the next show, which we'll talk about when we'll do that, but the next show we'll be talking about the postseason and the season going forward and the draft and all of those kind of things. So follow along for that. But Jay, how do you rank this season of the NFL in terms of your season of the NFLs, and how do you think you did as a pundit for the Yankee and the Britain this season?
Okay, it's funny. Sam K and I were just talking about this last night after MMA Underground. I had no footing for the first 3 weeks, I felt like, but it was because you took on a lot this year. And I wasn't sure where I fit when I talk, you know what I mean? And then I felt like once it came around, I felt like it was the best once I felt comfortable of where we were going. So that's for us. I think we just keep getting better. It just took me a couple weeks. I really enjoyed you sending me the rundowns and we can keep that up forever. But it took me a minute to get used to it. But as football seasons go, it was a great, exciting season. And again, it just always ends in heartbreak for me.
Yeah, I think that is the thing with the NFL, isn't it? It's unlike any other league where if you don't win the Super Bowl, you're heartbroken. There's no other feelings that go into it. There's no because when you think about the Premier League or the football team that I support, Sunderland, in the Championship, they're doing pretty well. And if they don't go up, I can say, oh no, this is a building year. This is a much better year than we all thought we had. But with the NFL, it is legitimately, if you don't win the Super Bowl, or maybe the championship, like the NFC or the AFC championship. What's the fucking point? So yeah, it always ends up in nice heartbreak for the two of us, which is.
I did enjoy watching Sam Darnold until he fell apart, and I did think he was going to get us compensation until he fell apart. But next year, I get to go into it unless something wild happens. I'm really excited about watching JJ McCarthy. So
yeah, I think this was a great year. I think I was able to kind of just cast off the Cowboys kind of early on and enjoy the drama of other teams. I thought like the NFC 1 seed race was fantastic. The jostling between like the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills for the AFC championship. We knew it was going to be those three from the very start.
Broncos?
I thought the Broncos were the Broncos have like come up, and the Chargers are a fun team. It's made that AFC West division a lot more fun, and seeing Jaden Daniels probably being a highlight of the season. Obviously, that'll be a low light as a Cowboys fan for a long time looking at it, but seeing his rise and debating kind of Caleb Williams, I thought it was a great season, loads of fun stuff. And Jay, I agree with you. I think this was our best year as a channel, and that's why I think that everybody should subscribe, like, and follow, because we're getting better and better at doing this as we go through, and the growth is getting faster. 727 subscribers on YouTube now, I've seen, which is exciting. So 727 people have decided that we're good at this.
Yeah, and our mistake was we didn't do shit the first year really on YouTube.
Yeah, we started on Facebook first, where we did get more views per video, but not the right kind of views, I think, going forward.
No, and it doesn't. Anyway. And Facebook, like everybody who does this at some point wants to make some money off of it. Yeah. And Facebook, you got to get people to give you stars to get money. Like who's buying stars on Facebook, right? But I will say this rumor to leave everybody with: Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp might be traded to the Steelers as a package.
Right. Interesting. We'll talk about that more on our next show. Jay, send us out like you always do.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe. Go watch the other shows. Montana and David been doing great with the NBA, and that's getting closer to the playoffs, so that gets more exciting. Sam K and Buddy V just kill it. But you need to tune in every Wednesday. Buddy V's been doing free giveaways, and all you have to do to be entered is comment anything in the live comments. He writes your name down, shows it to you, puts it in, and he's been doing giveaways of his merchandise through the show. So that's been really great. So make sure you check those out. And the biggest thing you can do for us is actually share the video. We want you to like and subscribe, but please share the video. And until we're back next time with some off-season talk, one world, one love, deuces.
Cheerio.